Alright, it's December 2nd. My hair looks a mess. That's okay. I've been working from home today. I work from home on Tuesdays. I have started doing some more work. I'm gonna take them into the woods soon. I'll introduce you to the boys properly. This is Frodo. Frodo! That's Frodo. And that's Sam over there in a cone. Because he keeps licking himself, so he's in a cone. I'm gonna take Frodo out into the woods soon. Anyway, I want to show you what I'm working on right this second. So this is a vest. I was knitting the Hobbiton vest by Fable Knitwear, and I made the wrong size. So I'm taking it up, and I have frogged it entirely. And as happens when you frog yarn, you'll get this. And this tangles really easily. So I'm putting it into a skein and giving it a wash. Not necessarily a soapy wash, just a hot soak. If you're careful with your hot water, you can do it without felting. So the yarn, if anybody wonders, this is from Skellingstad Museum. It's a wool factory, or it's a yarn and actually weaving factory that is a museum now, but is still being run as a living museum. So they still actually produce, and they produce a really lovely wool yarn that I like using for things. So I'm using it in this vest. I have a second vest I'm making where I'm doing, these are my colors for that. And as you can see, that's a picture from the loom area, and that's their name. And here's the information. So the vest I'm doing for this, I have just printed it in Norwegian and in black and white. This is they had an event earlier this fall, and this vest was designed for that event. So that's my next knitting project down the line. Tack photo. That's all I've been doing. Let's see, I need to get a little further on that, but I wanted to get this so that I can hang to dry. So, last night before bed, I got around to switching out the colors on that. So, I'm ready to sew this this pair of leggings. That's just some watercolor paper, water that I need to toss in. So, this legging pattern, really easy. It consists of 5 pieces of fabric and an elastic. There's 1 piece for each leg. The waist is in 2 pieces. There's a seam here and a seam there. And then there is a crotch gusset. This might not be the best pair to show it on. I'll show you the crotch gusset. Just a little flap like this. And it goes on the crotch. And it makes these so that they don't... I have never had any tearing or anything like that in the crotch on these leggings. So I really like it. You could probably make it without, but I never have. So I'm going to start seaming up each leg and seaming the legging or the waistband into a round. And also you need one more piece of thing, which is an elastic, your waist size. So I just measured that up. I'm going to seam that together. And then I'm going to put the crotch in. One thing I recommend doing is taking your elastic and just pinning it into the waistband. I like to do this as soon as the waistband and the legs are sewn, just to make it a little quick and easy for myself when I put the waistband on. You don't have to do it yet, but I recommend it. I also recommend putting the waistband inside before you sew the waistband on. That way you don't need to have an opening to put the waistband in. Here we have Frodo demonstrating why the trash can lives on the desk when I'm not actively sitting here. And I highly also recommend a cuddle buddy for when you're sewing. Okay, Frodo. So we take the leg, and this is the crotch, this is the inseam. Hey, not in the trash. Sorry, that is the criminal. We take the little gusset. We take the kind of the widest point on the gusset. If you imagine the gusset as a diamond like this, you take this point here and you put it against the inseam. Then we pin up both sides. We sew that in, and I'll show you what we do in the crotch seam. Here you see it all pinned in. If you wanted to, you see it's going to be a little, focus on the right thing. It's a little weird here at the top. I tend to sew the seam in one go. It ends up being a bit more oval when it's everything done, but you don't have to do that. You could stop and just like pivot slightly and get a more angular seam. However, it's knit. Knit is very forgiving. You don't have to. Now, after you have sewn up that seam, which I've done here, you take the other leg, the one without the gusset, turn it in right side out, and put it inside the other leg so that they are right sides together. Then you do the same thing. You find the inseam, which is also the seam going down the inside of the leg, if you don't know what an inseam is. Take it to the other point of the gusset, pin there. You take either end, pin there, either edge of the crotch. Sorry, Frodo was in the trash again. And then you just pin all the way up. This pattern is really nice. It fits evenly, but sometimes you have to stretch a little. Again, it's knit. So it's all set in, and now I just do this whole seam in one go. With that, we only have the waistband left to go. Okay, now we have the waist seam left to go. I don't know what's up with I need to get to know this serger a little. It's doing something funky here. I think maybe I need to fiddle with the blade. Anyway, so this waistband, because it was cut in two pieces, it has two seams. Normally, when I put in waistbands that have two seams, I like to have them on the outside of the hips. If I have one seam, I put that in the back. However, since these leggings are just one piece for the leg, I have this front and back seam. I like to kind of continue that line. So that's where I put my seam. I also try and, this is something you really don't have to do, but I like to try to, when I have a directional print like this with animals, I like to try and continue the animals so that they're not upside down on the waistband. So I'm going to do that now, put that in, and since I already put the elastic in here, there you go. Once I have sewn it all together, we are almost feature complete. And the waistband's in. Now I need to hem. Technically you don't need to hem. It's knit. Knit is forgiving. But I like to hem. Problem is, that's not the machine for hemming. That is the machine for hemming. So I'm gonna break down this machine. Well, break it down, you know what I mean. And get the other one down. And then I'm gonna hem this. Possibly, here you see we have a lot more color options. Possibly with that color or a light gray. I haven't decided yet. And then I'm also hemming the other two pairs of leggings that are hanging there and waiting to be hemmed. I have pinned my hem. I'd like to do a fairly, maybe a centimeter double hem, because I like a double hem in these. Feel like it's making it a bit sturdier. I've just eyeballed them. They are probably not in the exact same, but these are a little long on me anyway, so they end up being a little bunched at the leg, so that's fine. And for sewing on a regular sewing machine, I use a zigzag 4mm width and 2.5mm stitch length. You could probably go up a little on the stitch length, but that is fine by me. I always do this at maximum speed because it's one of those things. If you have a machine that has this many options, it's worth knowing this is a fake serger stitch, the same you would on a serger. It doesn't cut the edges all nice, but this gets you a very nice and flexible seam, as does this. The downside to these two, and why I got a serger compared to just keeping this machine that I love, is these take forever on a regular machine. That's not what a regular sewing machine is really meant to. If you wonder, this is the Yanoma 2030 DC. I love this machine. I've had it for about 10 years. It was one of my first tax returns. I paid for this. I have yet to experiment with a lot of these fancy seams right here. I'm hoping to get some quilting done of smaller things that I could actually do on this. This is of course not a long arm, so I can't do quilting the way you would on a proper one. I have also never used this stitch. These two are technically for doing a these are for sewing stretchy seams that look like straight seams. That I have done, not always with the greatest success, but I have done that. I have also used both of these. Let's see. I did try number 17 once. I felt like it didn't really show. And then, I mean, of course, the buttonholes are wonderful. This could probably be useful if you're like sewing jeans. I haven't tried that in a while. I don't know what this stitch is for. I don't know what this stitch is for. There's a lot of these stitches that I don't know the use case for. I mostly use 0, 0, 7, and then I make buttons. One thing I forgot to say is, generally, you want to sew from the right side of the fabric. It generally becomes a prettier scene from the right side of the fabric. Also, I did not go for blue. I went for a gray because that's what I had in my little box of threads. I now see a light blue, but I think it might be the wrong shade of blue. So we are going for a gray. So that's one hem done. I have 5 more to go. One on this pair and the other 2 pairs. But I think I'm gonna end it here and finish those off camera. As you can see, a light gray on a light fabric kind of blends in very nicely. Especially considering that this is gonna be all the way down at my ankles. That's a tip I got from watching quilting videos, is light gray and dark gray for light and dark colors kind of blend really nicely and blend if you have multiple colors you're going across. So yeah, that is it, I think. Thank you so much for watching today, and I'll see you all tomorrow.